All of you say, Dattatreya Samarambham Nrisimhadika Madhyamam Satchidananda Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. With the blessings of our Swamiji, we have started a program of spiritual conferences, speeches. Yesterday, a brief description about Ramayana was done. Today, we are offering a well-noted scholar, Dr. Vamshi Krishna Ganapati, to deliver a speech on Dakshinamurti. Please come and take your chair, Mr. Vamshi Krishna Ganapati. There is no necessity to introduce Vamshi Krishna Ganapati to the Datta devotees. Everyone knows it. But if any person is not belong to Datta devotee, he should know about that Vamshi Krishna. At the age of 6 or 7 maybe, he was adopted by Dattapeetham, by Swamiji itself. His boyhood, childhood, and education, everyone in that Dattapeetham only. At the age of nearly 15, maybe 15 or 16, he completed Krishna Yajurveda in Dattapeetham. Afterwards, within 2 years, he completed Krishna Yajurveda Ghananta. From that onwards, he called as Vamshi Krishna Ganapati. In Andhra Pradesh, there are 2 examination centers for Vedas. The first one is in Rajahmundry, the second one is in Vijayawada. The certificate is more valuable in Vijayawada and Rajahmundry. At that time, nearly 20 years back, I am also at that meeting. All our boys Vedic scholars came there. They examined very thoroughly. Very thoroughly means each and every bit will be examined at that Vedic examination. Normally, we studying a book. Examination paper may be 100 marks. 5 questions may be answered. 9 or 10 questions are given. We are choosing 5. After writing 5 questions, we are getting 100 marks. But the Vedic examination is not like so. Each and every panna, every panasa, every bit thoroughly examined. After the examination, the teachers blessed them, the students, as Ganapati. It is a common picture there. At that time, the scholars of Ganapati, H. Krishna Yajurveda, blessed Vamshi Krishna Ganapati. He is a child boy. He is an excellent Ganapati who taken a certificate from Rajahmundry. Afterwards, he completed Vyakarna Shastra, and afterwards he completed doctorate in Srauta Sutras, in the Sauta Agama, etc., etc. He completed doctorate also from the University of Kendriya Vidyapitha, maybe. Huh? Hyderabad, Telugu University. He got doctorate also. At the age of 40, 35, 40, he is completed within 2 years, complete Rigveda. After normally he studied Yajurveda. Afterwards, within 2 years, that means Rigveda takes nearly 8 or 10 years normally. But he completed the whole Rigveda within 2 years. Afterwards, by the blessings of our Swamiji, happened to go at CCLM. At CCLM, there is an excellent scholar in Adharvaveda.
We have not seen the anaconda or a huge serpents with our own eyes. And the TV channel ventures out to show all these things to us. What does that mean? It is discovering the veil of ignorance. That is called discovery. I repeat, remove the veil of ignorance. That means the discovery. If there is a cover over that, that cover of ignorance is being removed. That is discovery. Similarly, about our self, there is so much ignorance which is surrounding that. So the best thing is to remove that veil. To understand this better, there is a wonderful idiom in Tarkashastra. The metaphor is called the Dashama Nyaya. Dashama Nyaya. Dashama means the 10th. Nyaya is the logic metaphor. Most of the Telugu speaking people have the benefit of the stories and legends of one great scholar called Paramanandaya. Paramanandaya was a scholar. He had the misfortune or fortune of the company of all foolish students. There are several legends around him. In one such occasion, he has sent all his students to take bath in a river. All of them had wonderful time. They were all swimming, dancing, this, that. After the bathing ceremonies are over, they have all assembled in a line. It's a circular line. Okay, let's take a head count and we ensure that none of us are missing so that our Guruji is happy. If one of us miss this thing, then what will happen? Our Guruji will be very unhappy because one of his students are missing. So let's take a head count. The first one has stood out. All were seated in a circle. He has counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we were 10 people and one person has missed out. He was aghast. He was very unhappy. And he started to sob. Then the person next to him has consoled him. Don't worry, boss. I will take the count. I am an expert in counting. And he has done the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And he also has missed the 10th one. Similarly, all the 9 persons have counted. Even the 10th one has also counted, but he was only getting the count 9 only. Everyone was irrevocable and they could not be reconciled at all. Unbelievably, they were all weeping and sobbing. Someone has ran to the Guruji and they have informed, sir, there is some incident or accident in your Gurukulam. All the students are irretrievably, they are all weeping and sobbing, and someone needs to cajole them. You are the best person to take care of them because they are not very much endowed with intelligence. So, may I suggest you to rush to the river bank. All the people, the messengers have told him. Guruji has came and he has, with a glance, he has ensured that he was sure that everything is fine. Then he asked, oh boys, what happened? Then they have literally fell at the feet of the Guru and they sought his mercy. Guruji, you had instructed us to take care of each other and take the river bath, but unfortunately one of us drowned and we don't know where he is. Then he has just smiled. He asked the first one to just take a count. All 9 were there. He said only 9. Second one has also repeated the same mistake. Then the Guru has said, what about you? Did you count yourself? No. You are the 10th one. Don't you realize it? Till then they were irretrievably they were weeping. And when the Guru has said that you are the 10th one, that is the Dashamanyaya. With that, all their grief has come to an end. That is the discovery. Once you have that realization, you have the discovery that you are that. You need not search for something outside your domain. That is the Dashamanyaya. Similarly, once you want to know the phenomenon of Dakshinamurti, you should know what is the world made of. There are 2 parts which are congruent to each other. There are 2 parts which are complementary to each other. There are 2 parts which are literally contrary to each other. It's a bit intricate. How can something which is contrary to each other could complement each other? Is it possible? Anything which is contrary to each other could not complement each other and supplement each other. But that is the beauty of the creation. Adi Shankaracharya has wonderfully given us the first poem in Saundarya Lahari. Don't get confused because I am talking about a very other thing other than the Dakshinamurti Stotra. But this is the preamble. Actually, it's an adventure to wrap up Dakshinamurti Stotra in 45 minutes. It's an adventure. Let me see how Puja Swamiji graces us. Shivaha Shaktya Yuktaha Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum Nachet Evan Devaha Nakhalu Kushalah Spanditu Mapi Atastvam Aradhyam Harihara Virinchiyadibhirapi Pranantum Stotum Va Katham Akrita Punyaha Prabhavati. There is something, some substance, let us call the X factor. I hope there are some very learned physicists and physicians here around. If I am erring or transgressing from your line, kindly excuse me. There are some material physicists and particle physicists also present here. The fundamental principles of physics say that there is a matter which becomes inert at times and it is dynamic at times. And why the electrons or the particles, they wander or they move, and what is its rationale is very hard to explain. Even the best of our experiments have not yielded full results. Why it should act at a particular time why it should be passive at a particular time and active at a particular time. These are some fundamental questions. We call it the principle of nature, and it behaves on its own at its whims. That is the normal routine, that's how this thing. The entire substance is a sort of inert substance without any movement. The moment we have the matter and the energy are together, matter and energy are different substances. When the energy fields mingle with the matter, then there is some activity. The matter in this context is Shiva and the energy is Shakti. Shivaha Shaktya Yuktaha Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum. Only when the matter communions with the energy, it becomes dynamic and it undertakes all activities. Yesterday we had referred to Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Ichha, Jnana, Kriya are three forms of energy. Without that, it is not dead. It is just motionless. It is not incapable of movement, but it is not moving. If you are seated in deep penance, it is not that you cannot move. You just need not move. It is even not that you do not want to move. You need not move at all. So that is the concept of Shiva. So when the energy, it has a slightest brush or contact with the matter. In fact, they are not different from each other. They both are a bundle. So this was the Shiva Shakti Samagama. Samagama is the communion. Now, quoting the words of our Guru, who in turn quotes his Guru, Rani Hayagriva Shastri Garu. Dakshinamurti is not an incarnation that has happened in the annals of any Puranas. Dakshinamurti is the pristine, pure self without the contact of Shakti. When did this happen? Because there is no instance other than the Daksha Yajna where Shiva was left alone. Though both are in penance, Shiva was always with Parvati. This only happened when there was a brief absence of Sati Devi or the Parvati, the mother goddess, around Shiva. Daksha Yajna has happened, and with the Yogagni, Sati Devi has shed the mortal body and Shiva was alone. As we told in the morning, Daksha is the Dakshina. Daksha or Dakshina is the right part. Vama is the left part. When the left part has left, only the right part has remained. That is Dakshinamurti. So without the disruption or the contact of this matter, the Dakshinamurti maintained a stoic silence. Still, as I told, it is not that he is incapable of speaking or moving. He just did not, there was no need for him to move. The beauty of this Dakshinamurti Tattva is explained in 2 sentences. You can see any picture which has come out of an imagine of some artist. All these pictures give the youthful picture of Shiva. Nowhere Shiva is shown as an old man. Nowhere. He is always ever youthful. There is one wonderful word which is called the Tridasha. Tridasha means there are 3 dashas, 3 states. That is one meaning. The second meaning is that dasha is 10. 3 is 3. 3 dasha means 3 into 10 is 30. It is said, or it is commonly experienced, at the age of 30, a person is fully developed. His mind is almost nearer to maturity. The body is also very fit. agile. It will be able to do all such things. And the devatas, all the celestials are called as Tridashas. That is the attribute for all devatas. That is the reason all the deities are shown as in their youthful state. Similarly, Dakshinamurti was such a yuva. All his students were old men. Varishishtha ante vasat rishi ganaihi avratam brahmanishtaihi. Antevasi is the one who is always with you. Antevasi is the one who is always with you. He never leaves you. But there are Varishishthas. There are very old people. Gurostu maunam yakyanam. Guru does not speak a word. It happens to many of us. Our Guru, Paramapujya Swamiji, never speaks a word, especially that concerns the gravest of our problems. He never discusses. We will be approaching Swamiji with a bundle of our desires or questions or clarifications, this, that thing. But Swamiji never discusses about any of these issues. Gurostu maunam yakyanam, sishyastu chinna samshagaha. After some time, we spend time with Swamiji, our doubts are clarified automatically. There is something called the automatic route which all our doubts take. Nothing else remains. That is the Dakshinamurti Tattva. Now, coming to the Dakshinamurti Stotra, it has 10 stanzas, 10 shlokas. The last one is the Phalashruti. What is the benefit of learning this Dakshinamurti Stotra? In our traditions, there is an important adage. Unless you know the benefit, don't do anything. Prayojanam anuddishya na mandopi pravartate. You get the most foolish person ever available in your circle. You think of anyone. He will also have a purpose. Even for him to sleep, he wants to see a purpose. Without a purpose or a benefit in mind, no one would venture out to do anything. So, now let us analyze the importance and the benefit, likely benefit for a learner of Dakshinamurti Stotra. With this Dakshinamurti Stotra, Sage Adi Shankaracharya has given out the essence of entire Vedanta, the philosophy. Advaita Vedanta is totally encapsulated in this Dakshinamurti Stotra. I just read out these lines. Sarvatmatvamiti sphutikrutabidanyasmadamushmim stave tenasya shravanat tadarthamananat dhyanatcha sankirtanat. Sarvatmatvamiti sphutikrutabidanyasmadamushmim stave tenasya shravanat tadarthamananat dhyanatcha sankirtanat. Sarvatmatva mahavibhuti sahitam syadishwaratvam swatah siddhyet tat punarashtadha parinatam aishwaryamavyahatam. Sarvatmatva mahavibhuti sahitam syadishwaratvam swatah siddhyet tat punarashtadha parinatam chaishwaryamavyahatam. After this, there are 3 stutis of Dakshinamurti. Let's all chant them. Vata vitapi samipe. Vata. Please repeat. Vata vitapi samipe. Bhumi bhage. Nishannam sakala muni jananam jnanadataram Arat Tribhuvana Gurum Isham Dakshinamurti देवं जनन मरण दुःखच्छेद दक्षन्नमामि चित्रं वटतरोः मूले वृद्धाः शिष्याः गुरुः युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्नसंशयाः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञान एकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Can anyone tell us the ultimate desire in life, or the range of our desires that could be ultimate? Can someone tell us about a desire which can never be surpassed? Do you have anything in mind? The state of Manusha Ananda is described in the Upanishad as such. It gives us just three words. No one can fathom anything beyond these four words. What are they? Yuva syat, sadhu yuva, adhyayakaha, ashishtaha, drudhishtaha, balishtaha. तस्य इयं पृथिवी सर्वा वित्तस्य पूर्णा स्यात् सः एकः मानुषः आनन्दः. The ultimate state that one person would be able to achieve with this human body is just this much. Number one, youthfulness. No pain in the mind. Body is very fit. You can hike a mountain tomorrow. You'll be able to do any adventure. Sadhu yuva. Your nature should be gentle and very good-mannered person. Adhyayakaha. Very, very well-versed and learned. Asishtaha. As swift as current. The electricity is similar to a current. Electricity. Drudhishtaha. The body is very strong. Balishtaha. Strength and the valor are unsurpassed. For such a person, if the entire earth, the planet, is under his command with unbounded wealth, everything is at his disposition, what would be the state of mind? That is the maximum this body can achieve. With this body, that's the maximum you can achieve. You name it. Probably this president is confined to this territory. The other one with wonderful weaponry, he only was 1/2 or 1/4 of this earth, nothing more than that. Your jurisdiction is finished beyond your territorial waters. You have a limitation at every point of time. But the best of Manusha Ananda is such a person who has such a command over the entire planet, whatever he has, the bliss he has, the happiness he enjoys, that is the best thing that can ever happen. That is called Manusha Ananda. Manusha means Manushya is the human. Ananda means the happiness. The best and the ultimate happiness in this human life is just that. Nothing beyond that. No one can fathom beyond this. But Dakshinamurti Stotra, the benefit it enlists, it goes even beyond that. It goes even beyond that. What can be beyond this? Did some of you had come across a news item last week? They said an asteroid which is moving very close to this planet, which is moving, which is carrying platinum reserves equivalent to approximately 5 trillion US dollars. An asteroid was moving. Here you need to buy hydrogen if, or nitrogen. If you go to other planet, you have everything at your disposal. You can use as much as you want. That means you are deprived of such natural resources being in this planet. So your ownership is limited to this planet. That is what exactly the Phalashruti says. Sarvatmattvamiti sphutikrutamidam yasmat amushmim stave. I have told you about the happiness that is possible through this human body. But Dakshinamurti Stotra, the Phalashruti goes little beyond this, even in this planet. The earlier assertion was about the happiness and ownership over other resources in other planets and other galaxies. But here, it is exactly correlating with our own family. Just imagine, all of you had got a vacation trip free of cost, along with your all expenses paid trip to say Hawaii or India or any European countries. Who is the happiest person? Normally the children in the family would be the happiest because they have lesser list of desires. Whoever has a longer list of desires, he would be the unhappier person than the others. That's most common thing. Children would be the happiest. The second one would be the wife because she has got her husband and her children with her. That's all she needs. And if they are well, she is also happy. I don't know whether it's a fortune or a misfortune. Most of the women tend to think of the family first, then only they think even about their body. That is very much laid out, the emphasis in the entire Niti Shastra and Puranas and other Shastras. That's the trait. It is not acquired by them. That sort of affection is innate in them. So the next would be the wife. The least the happy person would be the husband or the father, because he has to take care of many expenses. He is worried if he misses this flight, probably he need to pay for extra money to get another flight. If the accommodation is not limited, then he has to get one more. And he is always searching for some sort of alibis or some problems. So he is the least happier person. As a unit, he is very happy. But individually, among the three, he is the least happy person. Now, just combine the happiness enjoyed by all the three persons. While you are enjoying your own happiness, you are deprived of the happiness which is enjoyed by your family, for your companions. Because you are limited to just this body. If Mr. Subhayi Dikshitulu is sitting blissfully here, and if he is listening to something, I might be worried about finding the next sentence or next logic or next topic to search for. But for a listener, it will not be there. Suppose if I am present in all of you, if you are enjoying what I am saying, that means our happiness combined is much more multitude to my happiness. Is it not? So, Sarvatmatva is being omnipresent in every creature in its blissful state. I again repeat, Sarvatmatva means being present in every creature in its original blissful state. So the combined happiness easily surpasses anything in this world. Okay? Sarvatmattvamiti sphutikrutamidam yasmat amushmim stave tenasya shravanat tadarthamananat jnanachya dhyanachya sankirtanat. The transfer of knowledge is 4-staged or 3-staged. What are the 3 stages? One is Shravana. Listen, not hear. You hear all sounds. But when you are intent, then only you listen to the particular sentence. Listen. That is called Shravana. Tadartha Mananat. After listening to a set of sentences, just think about the meaning of those sentences. Here I would like to draw your attention to a fact that understanding a word is different and understanding a sentence is different. Padartha is different, Vakyartha is different. Because at many times we stop by understanding a word and we feel happy. But it's not enough. If you put all the words in the right perspective, you get a different and more innate meaning. That is the Artha Mananat. You think about the meaning of the entire sentence. Don't be content with the meaning of just one word. The next step, the third stage is Dhyanat. Contemplate. Meditate upon the meaning that is derived from the sentence that you have listened to that. So whenever Swamiji says something, don't just stop with listening to his words. Swamiji always says that if there are 100 devotees sitting here, I hardly find one or two souls who give the maximum prominence to my words, and those who think about the meaning and those who put those words into practice. Dhyanat. Dhyanat means you are contemplating on the meaning. Sankirtanat. Sankirtana is to extol it, to repeat it. Whatever you had got till now with the grace of Sadguru, you have to repeat it. You have to tell it to someone. When you give a presentation about what you know, your understanding will be more clear. That is the reason there is a wonderful tradition in the Shastras. Shastra is a scripture. Normally when you go to a teacher, what is your first word to say? Sir, madam, I want to learn something. Can you teach me? That is normal thing anyone would say. Whereas here we don't say that. They say, Adhihi bho bhagavaha. Adhihi bho bhagavaha. Oh learned one, kindly study. Is it not insulting to ask your teacher to study himself? Normally, in any college or any school, if someone says, please study well, means it's actually ignominy. It's a sort of heaping an insult on someone. But our heritage never says that. Adhihi means you get the meaning of what you say perfectly. Then you impart the same to me. You impart that. Actually, whoever is teaching, he becomes richer. Vidya or the Jnana are the only ones which do not get exhausted by continuous distribution. Hence, Adhihi Bhava Bhagava means Sankirtanat. When you pour out your feelings with effective words, effective sentences, which you got from your Guru, Tenasya Sankirtanat. Sarvatmatva Mahavibhuti Sahitam Syat Ishvaratvam Svatasiddhyet. Sarvatmatva Mahavibhuti Sahitam. If you perfectly understand the Dakshinamurti Stotra, you will be richer by many times. Sarvatmatva Vibhuti means the existential happiness which is undergone by all the souls around you on this planet, all the creatures, whatever happiness they are undergoing, you will be equally benefited by them because you see the oneness in all of you. Not only that, Syat Ishvaratvam. If you realize this, you are none other than God. Ishvaratvam Svatasiddhyet. For that you need not do any effort. No penance is required. No austerity is required. No charity is required. Once you identify the divinity in all the souls around you and its creator, you yourself become an embodiment of divinity. Svatasiddhyet. How does that manifest? Punarashtadha parinatam Aishwaryam Avyahatam. Ashtadha means there are 8 forms of wealth, manifestation of the God. You will, practically you will be in all the 8 manifestations, you will feel your presence. Aishwaryam Avyahatam. Aishwarya means the feel, the phenomenon of Ishvara, the God, the divinity is Aishwarya. Aishwaryam Avyahatam. Avyahatam means there are no elections, there is no enemy to deprive you from that post. That's a perennial, permanent post which can never be surpassed by anyone. That is the Phalashruti of Dakshinamurti Stotra. Okay. So this is the possible benefit from the knowledge and wisdom gained through the recitation of Dakshinamurti. And one more important feature of Dakshinamurti is Vata Vitapi Samipe. Vitapi is the tree. Vata is the banyan. Vata Vitapi Samipe. The saint, the sage, the guru who is seated beneath the banyan tree, very huge. Bhumi Bhage Nishannam. Sakala Munijananam Jnanadataram Arat. All the sages are seated around him. Tribhuvana Gurum Isham Dakshinamurti Devam. Tribhuvana Gurum. He is a silent master. He is imparting the supreme knowledge about the self without words. Dakshinamurti Devam. Janana Marana Dukkha Cheda Daksham Namami. Most of us have the permanent feature of happiness and sorrows. They start from your birth and probably end with the death. But this cycle itself is very disrupting and disturbing. And he alone is capable of annihilating this sorrow from birth and death cycle. Janana Marana Dukkha Cheda Daksham Namami. Now we should understand why is Dakshinamurti. Why it is not Dakshinamurti. Dakshina is right. Murti is the embodiment. The right embodiment, which the legend explains that after the departure of Sati Devi, Shiva was left alone. So he is the Dakshinamurti. Is it not? Then why is he called Dakshinamurti? For this there are 2 explanations. The first one is Dakshinamurti. Dakshina Asha Dakshinasha. Dakshinasha Murtihi Yaske Saha Dakshinamurtihi. Dakshinasha means the direction of south. One who is in the southern direction is called Dakshinamurti. That is one explanation. The second one is Srishti Sthiti Tirodhaneshu Dakshinaha. Dakshinaha is the one. Dakshina means not only right. Dakshina also means the capable person. Dakshina means a capable person. Dakshinya is a quite used word in India. Dakshinya means capacity. One who is capable of creating this universe, sustaining it and destroying it. He is the Dakshina. Amurtihi, Navidyate Murtihi Gaskasaha. One who does not have a physical embodiment. Dakshinascha Amurtischa Dakshina Murtihi. That is the second explanation. The God, the divinity, which is the cause of this world, still which does not have a separate human form, a separate physical form, is Dakshinamurti. That is Paramatma himself, the God. For him we cannot conceive any one fixed form. That's why Swamiji always says, Anantanamna Parishobhitojaha Ananta Rupena Virajitascha Ananta Viryadi Gunaih Prapurnaha Tam Satchidananda Vibhum Vrajamaha. Suppose if I say, where are you? I will say I'm at Frisco. Again, if you ask this question, you say I'm in Texas. Or you can say that Collin County. If I repeat this question, you will say I'm in southern USA. Again, if I ask, you will say I'm in America. Again, if you ask, I'm in North America. Again, if you ask, okay, I'm on the earth. You can say this. So, is Frisco, does America has a separate entity other than Frisco? We are all part of it. You can never find a particle which has a printed label on that saying it is the USA. We can't find it. The universe is all pervading. Again, this earth, the waters, the natural resources are all pervading. They are everywhere. None of them carry any label. All of these resources constitute, or at least they are transacted as one entity by us. Similarly, when you say earth, you can't say that this is not earth or this is only earth. If I take a fistful of earth, soil, I can't say that this is not earth. At the same time, I cannot say that this is all the earth. This can't be that. Similarly, all the particles constitute one entity. Similarly, the divinity is made up of all the creatures, all the particles ever possible in this universe. That is the divinity. This is what we are actually concluding. Dakshinaha Amurtihi means one who does not have a physical form, but he is all pervading in every creature and every form is the God. Dakshinamurtihi. Now, the first stanza says, Vishwam Darpana Drushyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Majaja Bahiribodbhutam Yatha Nidraja Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaje Swatmana Mevadvajam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaje Nama Idam Shri Dakshina Murtaje. The last line should be repeated by everyone. Please join me. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaje Nama Idam Shri Dakshina Murtaje. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaje Nama Idam Shri Dakshina Murtaje. My obeisance to the Supreme Guru, who is none other than Dakshinamurti. That is the meaning of the last line. When the God permits every particle, every form, every creature, why are we not able to realize Him? The first question. You need not be a rationalist or atheist to ask this question. This is a fundamental question. For that, Swamiji says, if you cannot find God everywhere, you will find Him nowhere. If you cannot find God everywhere, you will find Him nowhere. If He is Sarvatma, He has to be everywhere. Normally, it's our tendency to give the highest credence to the most reputed and respected and honored, clean environment, the godliness. If I ask you to join your hands and do a namaskara to the Almighty in the temple, you will be gleeful and glad to do that. Suppose if I ask you to if we take you to a restroom and flush the toilet, or even before flushing the toilet, if I ask you to do the same thing, you will slap me. Is it not? That's a human tendency. Under the footmat, under the soil, under your shoe, can you find godliness? No, very difficult. Because our training has been such that since our very childhood, the most precious things in the life are accorded godliness. Not everything. That is why sometimes we feel ourselves little nervous or reserved in attending to the lesser souls or lesser creatures in this world. That normally happens. If God is everywhere, how do we realize Him? And if God, then is there a God different than you, or is He in you? If He is in you, why are you not able to seek Him? And if He is not in you, how do you find Him? Again, I repeat the set of questions. Is there a God separate from you? If He is in you, how do you realize Him? If He is not in you, is there a way to find Him? And how are you different from the God? You have to demonstrate that. How are you different from the God? You have to be able to explain that. Swamiji, in his beautiful bhajans, he gives several sentences. One such sentence was quoted yesterday by my mother. Unnadi Shivude Shivudega, Shivude Shivude Shivudega. If you just understand these lines, they are so simple. Unnadi Shivude Shivudega. There is only one God. He is only God. Shivude Shivude Shivudega. Only one God, only one God, only one God. Nilo Unnadi Shivudega. Nalo Unnadi Shivudega. The God in you is one. The God in me is also one. Nilo Nalo Andarilo Unnadi Shivude Shivudega. The God who is in you, who is in him, who is in her, who is in them, who is in me, is the one. Unnadi Shivude Shivudega. The logic is gradually built up. It's a very popular bhajan, and unfortunately, our attention misses the core of the bhajan, because the tune is such powerful phenomenon. We all are just carried away by the tune, the powerful tune, but the meaning is equally more powerful. There is a metaphor in the Shastras which says that Draksha Paka and Narikela Paka. Draksha Paka means if you just take 2 grapes, put it in your mouth, just bite them, you have the juice which is actually trickling in on your tongue, and you instantly you become very happy. That is Draksha Paka, which gives instant bliss. Sangeeta is just that. The music immediately appeals to the mind and it sways you away. Narikela Paka means a piece of coconut. Immediately when you just bite it, a dry copra, dry coconut, if you just chew it, immediately it will be very difficult. You keep on chewing for 1 minute or 1.5. You will just see the juices seeping on your tongue. You will feel the happiness in it. That is long lasting than the Draksha Paka. Okay. Now, Nalo Nilo Andarilo Unnadi Shivude Shivudega. What is the next? I just don't remember those lines, but the next logic is just that. If you are God, Unnadi Shivude Shivudega, if you are Shiva, then why do you say Shiva in you? If you yourself are Shiva, why should you say Shiva in you and Shiva in me? Do you ever say that? Suppose this is an object. If a phone call is made from this number, you will say that Vamshi is calling. Is it actually Vamshi calling? Only one instrument is making a dumb call. Accidentally someone might just press it and you receive a call. But you say Vamshi is calling, let me talk to him. But there is not. Thanks to Shekhar, he has given us the beautiful app. Now, I am different from Shiva. That is why I am saying Shiva is in me. If I am Shiva, why should I say that? I should not say that. Is it not? For that, Swamiji gives a beautiful answer. Nalo kadile pranamme ningini nimpina gali kada. Ningini nimpina agale andari pranamu avunu kada. There is a air system, air circulation system which is in my body. The same air circulation system is also permitting the entire universe, or let us say stratosphere or atmosphere. Beyond that, you can't say have this sort of air system. But the entire sky, the entire universe is permitted, it's occupied by the same air circulation system which is in my body. నింగిని నంపిన ఆగాలే అందరి ప్రాణం అవును కదా. ది సేమ్ ఎయిర్ విచ్ ఈస్ పర్మిటింగ్ ది ఎంటైర్ యూనివర్స్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో ప్రజెంట్ ఇన్ ఎవ్రీ క్రీచర్, ఈజ్ ఇట్ నాట్? సో వాట్ షుడ్ హ్యాపెన్? దెర్ ఈజ్ ఓన్లీ వన్ ఎంటైటీ విచ్ ఈజ్ యాక్చువల్లీ పాపులేటింగ్ యువర్ బాడీ యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ ది celestial bodies. That's why it is called Andanda Brahmanda. Andanda is the bodies of the humans or any other creatures. Pindanda, these are Andanda, Pindanda. Brahmanda is the celestial bodies. That is called the Vairaja Nyasa. Now, Swamiji goes to the next stanza. Na Jatharagniya Talapanga Velupala Vilugai Vichakada వెలుపల విచ్చిన ఈ వెలుగే అందరిలో జఠరాగ్ని కదా. ది ఎనర్జీ సిస్టమ్ విచ్ సస్టైన్స్ దిస్ బాడీ ఈజ్ డెల్ట్ విత్ దిస్ లైన్. నా జఠరాగ్నిగా తలపంగా వెలుపల వెలుగై విచ్చ కదా. I see some energy forms outside this body. We have several celestial bodies such as the sun. We have many luminous planets, luminous bodies in this universe, galaxies. వెలుపల విచ్చిన ఈ వెలుగే. Similarly, the air which is populating my body, that has also populated the entire universe. Similarly, the energy system is also similar, because Agni and Vayu are two wonderful companions. Agni is energy, Vayu is the air. They both are complement to each other. Now, నేల నీరు నింగియును ఉన్నవి నాలో వెలుపలను భూతములైదును శివుడనగా అశివము నాలో కలదేది. Sometimes Ashiva means inauspicious, not sacred. Now Swamiji builds up the logic further. నేల నీరు నింగియును. Ningi is ether, the space. Nela is earth. Niru is water. So there are fluids, the liquids, there are the solids. Parthiva Padartha we call it in Shastra, and the ether. And all the Agni, the energy, and air, the Vayu. All these 5 elements make up my body. They are also making up the entire universe. And now we should conclude that that is Shiva, that is the God. Then, where is the scope for inauspiciousness ever? Is it possible to be inauspicious at any point of time? It cannot be. It's not at all possible. Even at your best of your efforts, it's always you are a divine body yourself. Now, the 5th stanza further continues the logic. నాలో శివుడు అని అననేలా, నేనై ఉన్నది శివుడేగా, నేనై నీవై అన్నియునై ఉన్నది శివుడే శివుడేగా. Now we have discussed the constitution of this body. It is made up of 5 elements. So initially we thought that these 5 elementary body is a kosha. A kosha means a container. The content inside that container is Shiva. Now we realize that to differentiate between the container and content is futile. It's totally worthless. So, నాలో శివుడు అని అనలేలా. వై షుడ్ యు కాల్ దెర్ ఇస్ శివ ఇన్ మీ, దెర్ ఇస్ బాడీ ఇన్ మీ. నేనై ఉన్నది ఆ శివుడే కదా. మై సెల్ఫ్ ఐ ఆమ్ ది గాడ్. నీవై నేనై నీవై అనునై. ఇఫ్ ఐ సే ఐ ఆమ్ గాడ్, then it means that you are inferior to me, because you have never claimed that you are God. So there is an element of discrimination. That's why Swamiji says, Nenai nivai anniyunai. Not only you and me, every creature, every form in this world is made up of the same 5 elements, that is the divinity of Shiva. Hence, it is only one, Unnadi Shivude Shivudega. There is only one possibility, that is the Shiva. Satpada Vedyudu Shivudega, చిత్పద గమ్యుడు శివుడేగా, సచ్చిదానందుడు శివుడేగా, శివుడే శివుడే శివుడేగా. సత్, చిత్ and Ananda. We are all familiar with these three words. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. That is the Lakshana Vakya. Lakshana Vakya means the definition for Parabrahma or the Supreme Being. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Hence, we have no other way other than to conclude that the God is entirely this universe and all the forms are his own embodiments and there is nothing other than him. Now, if he is that and we are him, what is the difference between us and him? Again, we come to the fundamental question. This is ably explained in the first stanza. I am afraid that we are running short of time, and I will explain the first stanza. Vishwan Darpana Drishyama. Suppose you have this beautiful prayer hall here. I want to encompass everything and encapsulate here. What is the best way I can do to present this? If I ask our photographer friends, they say it's very easy. Just click on the panorama mode and just shoot around. You will get the encapsulating beautiful picture that will give the entire picture. That's what our photographer friends say. There is also something called the 360-degree view in all the cameras these days. That's the normal tendency. But you don't have the access to a camera, you don't have any accessory, then what do? You can just turn your head around and you can see everything here. Even that is not available means there is another alternative. You just take one mirror and you just tilt the mirror. You need not even turn your head. The entire prayer hall is wonderfully captured in this mirror. Just enlarge this metaphor to the universe. Vishwam, the universe. Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam. The universe is equivalent to a wonderful city encapsulated in a mirror. The camera is nothing but a mirror. It's a glass, piece of glass. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam. It is equivalent to the city which is captured in a mirror. Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraja Yas Sakshat Kurute. The external example is beautiful, but when you need to realize the Dakshinamurti's concept, you have to turn a little inward. This simile is very much useful to understand the inner example. We all have wonderful time on our beds. We sleep blissfully. When you get up, you are ecstatic. There are no words to describe your joy. You feel very happy. But when you are sleeping, what happened to you? At that time, you were not able to speak. You were not able to express your happiness. Were you happy or unhappy? No one speaks at that time. After some time, the mind wakes up first. After awakening, the mind says it will have its own universe, which does not require the logic or reality of this world. It creates its own world. Sometimes it assumes that you have become young again. That's the dream state. You have become young again. All your pains are lost and you have immense wealth. Or it could be contrary to this. You are actually, in essence, you are a very fit person, but you dream of a death, your own death, or someone is stabbing you, or someone is chasing you, someone is preying upon you. You have lost everything. It could be vice versa. So the mind has created its own small worlds in its dreams. After some time, what will happen? It will again get tired and it will sleep again. When you were in the uninterrupted sleep, even before the dreamful state, you had excellent ecstasy. These days, no one would dispute with me if I say that the sleeping state is the wonderful thing, and you will hardly feel the urge to get up, because that is the affliction to the blissful state. You are so much, you have so much affinity towards that state, and you are addicted to that. You will not be able to get out of it. Similarly, the Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraja Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye. Once you have come out of your sleep, you are able to manifest everything around you. Till then you were only you, but you could not gauge anything other than you. Once after getting to the wakeful state, you are realizing everything around you. Similarly, the factor of Maya, Shakti, which is causing the manifestation of the entire world, which is similar to a city being captured in a mirror. That is the concept of Dakshinamurti. Actually, poetically, this is all described. In essence, there is only one line. There is only one God who has manifested everything, and the one who is speaking this line and one who is listening to this line are his own embodiments. But why we have different manifestations and different ideas is because of the factor of Maya. Hence, we pray to that Almighty God, who is none other than our Guru, to bless us and liberate us from this Maya, so that we become one with Him. That is the Dakshinamurti Stotra. Please repeat. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaje Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaje. Om Namaha Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnana Ekamurtaje Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaje Namaha. Jai Guru Datta.
Now, once again, I am very thankful to Dr. Brahmasri Vamshikrishna Ganapati Garu. He is developed a wonderful dais in the minds of the spectators, because the subject is very high density. That is an easy subject. The subject is very powerful. After knowing the Dakshinamurti Tattva, just he gave the substance of the Dakshinamurti, a picturization of Dakshinamurti, but he is not entered into Dakshinamurti Tattva. Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam is the first entrance. So, on behalf of all the devotees, once again I am praying that Vamshikrishna Ganapati to continue the lectures in every day, because we are very thankful to him, because this is the subject. The subject is not anyone can easily say. He is a capable personality who done just this type of lectures. So I am very thankful to Vamshikrishna Ganapati Garu, who is delivered an excellent subject on Advaita Siddhanta of Dakshinamurti. Thanking you, sir. ఇదే సందర్భంలో ఒక చిన్న 2 నిమిషాల్లో చెప్పి వదిలేస్తాను. చాలామందికి అర్థమైంది, మొహమాటం ఏం లేదు. ఎందుకంటే సుమారు 10 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి ఇంత సింపుల్ లాంగ్వేజ్లో వంశీ మాట్లాడింది ఇప్పుడే మొదటిసారి. చాలా దిగి తేలికైన పదాలు వేసుకుంటూ మాట్లాడాడు. అయితే దక్షిణామూర్తి అంటే ఎవరు? రాణి హయగ్రీవ శర్మ గారిని ఒకసారి గుర్తు చేసుకుంటూ, దక్షుడి యాగంలో సతీదేవి యోగాగ్నిలో తన దేహాన్ని భస్మం చేసిన తర్వాత సతీదేవి లేనటువంటి ఒక స్వరూపం మిగిలిపోయింది ఈశ్వరుల్లో. ప్రతి వ్యక్తిలోనూ కుడి భాగం తనది, ఎడమ భాగం భార్యది, దక్షిణ భాగం వామభాగం. వామభాగమైనటువంటి సతీదేవి లేకపోయిన తర్వాత ఒకే ఒక భాగం మిగిలింది. ఆ మిగిలిన భాగమే దక్షిణామూర్తి స్వరూపము అని చెప్పారు. అయితే ఇంకొక మాట అన్నారు ఆయన, అప్పుడు దక్షిణమూర్తి అనొచ్చు కదా, ఈ దక్షిణా దీర్ఘం ఎందుకు పెట్టావు అని అడిగారు. అంటే దక్షిణపు దిక్కుగా ఉండేటువంటి సామర్థ్యం గలవాడు కాబట్టి దక్షిణ ఆశ అని మధ్యమ పదలోప సమాసం చేసి దక్షిణామూర్తి అని చెప్పారు. ఇంకో మాట ఏం చెప్పారంటే, సృష్టి స్థితి లయములు మూడింటిని ఏకకాలంలో చేయగల సామర్థ్యం గల శక్తి స్వరూపం కాబట్టి అది దక్షిణామూర్తి. అంటే పర్ఫెక్ట్నెస్, అంటే ఎఫిషియన్సీ అని చెప్పారు. ఇంకొక మాట చెప్పి ముగించేస్తాను. ప్రారంభంలో శివశక్త్యాయుక్త అని శ్లోకాన్ని చెప్పుకుంటూ సౌందర్యలహరిలోది ప్రతి ఆటంలోనూ ఒక ఎనర్జీ రావాలి. ఆ ఎనర్జీ శక్తి స్వరూపం. ఇది మ్యాటర్లో ఉండే ఎనర్జీ కలిస్తేనే చైతన్యం వస్తుంది అనేటువంటి అద్వైత సిద్ధాంతం ఏదైతే ఉందో దాన్ని ప్రారంభిస్తూ ఈ రోజున వినేవాళ్ళ శ్రోతలందరికీ ఒక చక్కటి ప్లాట్ఫారం కలిగించాడు. అంటే ఇంట్రడక్షన్ ప్లాన్ పూర్తయింది. దక్షిణామూర్తత్వం చెప్పడానికి ఒక రోజు చాలదు, ఇంతలో సుమారు 4 నాళ్ళు చెప్పుకున్నా పూర్తవదు. కానీ వాళ్ళ శ్రీకారం చుట్టాం కాబట్టి సద్గురు సన్నిధిలో రేపటి నుంచి ఆయన ఈ ప్రవాహాన్ని ఇలాగే నడిపిస్తుంటే మా అందరికీ సుఖంగా ఉంటుంది అని మీ అందరి పక్షాన ఇంకోసారి నేను వంశీకృష్ణ ఘనాపాటి గారిని ప్రార్థిస్తూ జయ గురుదత్త.